views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good evening and welcome to the Bronx Buzz. This is BronxNet's program where we talk to journalists and we talk to photographers and we talk to filmmakers and we talk to anybody who's putting stuff out in the media or otherwise in the borough of the Bronx. Give you a chance to find out what they're thinking about when they do the work that they do. This evening we've got first a journalist and then also a photographer. So we're going to start off with the journalist. It's my pleasure to welcome Andrew Turay. Excuse me, Andrew. I'm talking about Michael Turay because I know his father is Andrew. Hello, Andrew. I'm sure you're watching and you heard Gary make a terrible mistake. Michael Turay from the Norwood News. Nice to have you with us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, then let's start there. So your father was a teacher. And
Yeah.
your parents were teachers at Morris High
Both
School?
of my teachers were educators for 30 plus years. My mom served as a college advisor, helping numerous kids get into college. And my dad, of course, as you mentioned, was a principal. So,
And I guess that influences a youngster growing up in the Bronx, and education is important, those kind of things. Talk to me a little bit about you growing up in the Bronx and what got you to the point where you're writing now for the Norwood News.
yeah, well, homework was always first. My brother and I really played a lot of sports growing up, but we had to make sure our homework assignments were done. And it was a high level of academia in our household, just reading a lot, whether it be on the dictionary, online. So definitely inspired me as a writer, something that I picked up at an early age, and being able to express myself through those words was something that I really liked.
Early age, how early? Like, what are we realistically talking about?
I would say around middle school. I think
Wow,
in middle school,
fascinating.
6th grade, I had the opportunity to travel to Japan in the exchange student program, and one of the activities that we had to do was to write just a daily journal about reflecting and what we did, and that's when I realized how much words can captivate sort of my feelings.
What a fascinating upbringing. My instinct would be to say to you, don't go back and read that stuff now, because you probably wouldn't like it, and probably you'd say, wait a minute, what was I thinking about? But if I were to design a curriculum background for somebody who I would want to become a journalist, that would certainly be it. And so along the way, you went to college and you learned to write?
Yeah, I studied out at University of Albany in a concentration in communication and journalism. While I was there, I wrote for the Albany Student Press, independent newspaper, so I was able to cover...
He's hired. He got the job. He's fine. He's exactly who we want in the Bronx, right? A Bronx guy, educated in a state university, in a culture of learning and words. Wow, wonderful. Keep going. I'm enjoying this show more than anybody.
So I was able to cover a lot of the sports, lacrosse games, basketball games, being in the press box, working alongside people from the Times Union, which is a paper out at Albany. Just being in that atmosphere, I kind of knew that journalism was my calling card, and that's what I eventually wanted to do.
So you've been working at the Norwood News as a staff writer, as an intern?
As an intern.
As an intern, and how's it been? So are you still at Albany, or are you done with Albany?
I'm done with Albany.
Okay.
I graduated.
And so you're working as an intern, and you've been covering like real stories, right?
Covering a lot of local stories, working with David Cruz, and yeah.
He's the editor, of course.
Editor-in-chief.
Do you have a type of story that you like to cover? Is there something that you really, you're like, boy, I love that? And don't worry, we won't tell Dave if you say something that he hasn't sent you to yet.
I think I'm very versatile, so I really just,
that's the right attitude.
Whatever I'm assigned, I just try to put my best effort to. A lot of this stuff I'm kind of learning on the fly, but it's really cool to be able to go out in the community and interact with people and get down to the gist of news.
A lot of the journalists that we interview here on our program, I don't want to say a lot, many, some amount of journalists come from other places, and I'm always interested in their impressions. If you, even from Queens, I'd be curious what you think of the borough of the Bronx, or if you come from, Westchester or New Jersey or something, I'm always interested. But as a Bronxite, has the process of covering news taught you anything new about the borough, or it's, you know what, this is who we are, it's my job to report it?
Yeah, I would say I definitely look at things from a different lens, more of like a reporter's lens. Obviously,
well, that's true. Yeah, that's not about the Bronx. That's more about you than anything else.
Obviously, growing up, a lot of the neighborhoods that I cover now for Norwood, Fordham, Kingsbridge, Bedford, these are places that I have memories of being a camp counselor or growing up playing basketball in a park. I recently did a story on Jerome Avenue PS 340 is building a new annex, and I remember growing up and playing basketball on that playground. So to see now construction coming over and
I got to tell you now, we're always nice and fair to the people who come from other places. There's no question, you know the history of it. You walk in that park, I feel the same way. I've been obviously working in the Bronx and covering the Bronx and living here for a very long time. When I go into a deli, I know those people. I know them, but I know who they are, I know where they're from, I know their neighborhoods, you know what I mean? I'm sure it helps you as a journalist.
It definitely does. It's not second nature. I'm not uncomfortable interacting with the people. And as you mentioned, going into a local bodega and seeing your name on the front page of a cover of a newspaper is something that's great. So it really adds a lot of fuel.
Let's talk about you told me this was your stop, the Kingsbridge Road stop,
yes.
on the number 4 train. There was a terrible, just an absolutely horrible story of a father who jumped in front of a train. He had his daughter with him. He perished, but the daughter actually was saved by a couple of Bronx guys. And God love them. What can you say about them? You wrote the story about the heroes being hailed. What do you want to tell me about it? There's many aspects of this thing. As tragic and as wonderful as it turned out.
Well, it definitely was very close to home, obviously being a stop that I normally get on. And it's almost like out of a Hollywood script, as you mentioned. The father who was, suicidal, jumps onto the track with a 5-year-old. Miraculously, the 5-year-old survives. And being able just to be there and see Ruben Diaz, the borough president, really honor them and shed light on a tragedy was huge. And, those two people being from my community, it was definitely a big honor to cover that story. And yeah, it was really tragic. The girl was about a subway cart, about 6 to 7 feet underneath the train track. And the guy told her just to crawl towards him like a puppy, and him being able to recite that and just picturing that in my mind was just something that was crazy.
Again, we're Bronx guys. We understand who Bronx people are. People like that in the Bronx that nobody knows about who would do that, right? Right. So in a way, it was easy for you to write it, but also gratifying for you to be able to write a story.
Yeah, and it's just it's a normal routine. The other guy that actually went upstairs to help him was just doing a normal walk along Jerome Avenue. I have a father that walks around that area, plays at St. James Park, so him being a part of that normal routine and going upstairs and being able to help him out, and they're two good Samaritans that are being honored by the borough president is just huge.
That's a beautiful thing. We were talking earlier about people on their cell phones. I don't want to criticize anybody, but if that happens, do what you can to help. The cell phone, if it happens, okay, great, but if not, don't worry. So I just pulled out the names. It's Jairo Torres and Antonio Love.
Yes.
Both of them. Well, that's great. Must have been as gratifying as could be.
Gratifying, and ironically, I actually took the train with one of the Good Samaritans to the ceremony, so that just shows
coincidentally?
Got on the same train car. I recognized his face, and so I said, "Yeah, I'm going to cover this story. Let's walk in together." So.
Wow, that is absolutely tremendous. Again, tragic story, of course, but I guess on whatever level it has a happy ending. Also, you wrote about the bus redesign,
right?
And
from our beloved friends at the MTA.
From the MTA, both of these stories actually coincidentally MTA. But the people in Riverdale, in the Riverdale Press, they're talking about how the new bus route redesign, they're not optimistic, and there may be some routes that are going to lose their way or whatever. And then coincidentally, the other local paper from another neighborhood is saying essentially the same thing. Talk to me about what are the concerns of local residents.
Well, just for the locals, in that area in particular, there are a lot of hospitals, so a lot of elderly people that have to go to their doctor's appointments and their checkups, and the traffic over there is really bad, so to add
on Gun Hill Road?
To make matters worse, now there are a number of routes that are going to be axed, and I spoke to a lot of people at a crowded bus stop, and they really let me know what they wanted to share. A lot of opinions were very valued, but yeah, terrible.
And I'm stuck on what you said. Traffic is really bad. Have you been on Gun Hill Road in a bus or a car or a taxi?
It's
unbelievable.
It's worse than California. It's worse than California.
California is like a pleasure compared to if you're trying to go. And this is well off the point. It has nothing to do with the story that Michael wrote, and he's a wonderful writer and all that. But I got to tell you. That if you're over where the Bronx River Parkway entrance is, right by White Plains Road, and you want to go up to toward Jerome Avenue,
it's really bad.
Up the hill. I'm sorry, I was caught in it actually the other day, and believe me, I'll go around it.
Yeah, one of the interesting facets was Co-op City, which has over 43,000 residents. A really popular bus route was actually going to be deleted to that area, so a lot of people were voicing their concerns over that.
For a part of the Bronx that historically has been a transportation desert, that is kind of like ridiculous. What are the bus routes, or what is going to be the next step of the BX30? You tell me.
This is just a
We've got about a
preliminary.
minute.
This is just a preliminary plan. They actually won't go into effect until late October, but really they just wanted to get the gist from the community and how people will feel about it and their concerns.
So is there a next step? I mean, we don't know because they put out the plan, and
Just
now I
waiting on
guess
the
it's
MTA.
going through the blender and go back out.
just waiting on the MTA to really go through with this. So.
And it's funny talking to Michael about these kinds of issues. And again, if you were coming from somewhere else, you'd learn and you'd ask people, you know it like you know your own name.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Michael Turay, it's been a pleasure. We assume you will come back with us.
For sure.
And one day your name will be on the masthead instead of that. Good luck in everything you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Congratulations
having
to the Norwood News for bringing you on, and onward and upward. We'll see you around the streets of the Bronx.
All right. I appreciate it.
Take it easy. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, one of the Bronx's best photographers coming on the show. Don't go away.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self. And I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family? This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go along, son.
it's always worth it.
Whoa, master!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Hey, it's Ava, and this is Tess from Vivo's Do It Yourselfie, where we recreate the hottest looks from today's biggest music videos.
After cleaning out our closet, we have a lot of clothes we don't wear anymore.
Like this old t-shirt.
It's not garbage, it's actually a brand new rug.
And to make it, all you need to do is cut, tie, and glue.
Cut the t-shirt into strips.
Tie the strips into knots.
And glue the knots to the bath mat. I love it. Give your garbage another life.
And recycle.
Hey, I'm already enjoying my visit with my buddy Miriam Quin, who is with Miriam Quin Photography. And she is Miriam Quin Photography. Hello, Miriam. Nice to have you with us. Miriam is one of the, I think, one of the Bronx's best photographers. Everywhere I go, I say, oh, look who's taking pictures here. It's Miriam Quin. This is literally what just happened. We were just talking about the fact that I'm always in front of the camera and she's always behind the camera. Why do you love being behind the camera, and why is that like second nature to you? You have to have it with you, and everywhere you go, you're taking pictures.
I like taking pictures of people, interaction.
Which would suggest that the interaction is important to you, you want.
Right, they have to be, like in action. I don't want to just tell you, okay, put your hand here, turn this way, turn that way. I want to just do it like when you're in action, doing something.
When you look at photos that you've taken, and we're going to show, by the way, we're going to talk about the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and we're going to show the incredible photos that she took there. But when you take photos, and you take photos at all kinds of events, or you go to the park and you take pictures in the park, when you look back at it, how do you know that, what does that picture say to you that makes you say, that's a good one, that's something that I did well?
By the expression on the people's faces, that they are also enjoying taking the picture.
Right.
And what they're doing.
Really, it's about enjoyment, and it's about portraying some of the Bronx and that kind of thing.
Right.
Where did you learn to take pictures? Have you always this thing?
Yeah. I started in junior high school taking pictures with a little portable box.
Where,
one.
Here?
In junior high school.
At which
that
school?
was like a long time ago, junior high school 123.
I'm not asking how many years, come on.
123, junior high school 123.
Okay, what neighborhood?
That was in the South Bronx.
The South Bronx, okay. And so what happened in junior high school? They had a program?
No, that was the time when, teenagers, everybody gets together, everybody have the little portable camera, and everybody goes in the yard and take pictures, and
so you had like a little brownie camera or something like that?
Yeah.
Did you, for a youngster, it's expensive, right? Because nowadays, of course, you can take 40,000 pictures and it doesn't cost you anything. But you had every frame has to be paid for. You got to buy the film and then, of course, have it developed. Was it difficult? Was it?
Not that much, because we would just send it to one of those like Walgreens
Kodak,
or something, and
yeah.
just send it to them, and then they would print them, and then most of the time you got the pictures, and okay, I don't like this one, I don't like this one, I don't like this one.
Yeah, right.
Now you actually see them on the computer, and then you could either delete.
Yes, or
now
even edit it or do something.
Edit or do something to it to make it look more appealing.
I've interviewed many photographers, and I'm curious. It sounds to me like you welcome the digital age. There are some photographers who say, you know what, I was able to do more with film. I could develop it differently. You love the digital age.
Yeah, because you don't have to even wait days or weeks for those pictures to come through the mail or pick it up and see what it looks like.
They're on my phone right now.
Right now you could just see it right there.
And in terms of equipment, do you what kind of equipment do you like to use?
I just use a Nikon.
Use a regular Nikon. Do you change lenses a lot, or you're not that kind?
No, I don't really change that much unless I'm in a ballpark or someplace in a concert where you need the extra lens to zoom. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Now, I know you've been very involved in it for years. I wasn't sure if you were an officer, but you've been their photographer for many years.
Yeah.
And it's really important to you. Talk to me about why it's so important.
Yes, and for the pageant also.
And why is that pageant important to you?
Because when you take pictures of them, they look back at these pictures and they get so excited when they say, oh, that's me in the picture, or when they become a queen or a princess. And then when they see the newspaper that comes out, everybody wants the newspaper copy, because then when they grow up, they have that piece of paper or picture that they could bring.
I mean, here's a sample of it.
And show it to their kids and say, oh, I used to be here and I used to be there.
Your face lights up when you say that, and of course the pictures that we're showing, we're going to show some more of them. And you get the joy out of being the person that brings them that. Right?
Yes.
That's what I'm reading of you.
Yes.
All right, let's roll a couple others. I mean, so this is obviously our buddies over at the Bronx LGBT. I see Jose Ramon, people that I.
So it's like no matter who you are or where you came from, everybody was there at the parade.
Right,
we invite everybody to participate.
Let's go. Let's throw up another photograph, folks.
So he's the new vice president
On the
of
left,
the
yes.
parade.
Okay.
And Alexa in the middle, she's the new chairperson, because you know that Francisco Gonzalez retired and
Of
gave
course.
her the position. And then we got the new president, Maribel Mercado, because you know Ruben had passed away
Ruben Rios,
last
yeah.
year, yeah. So she took over. And amazing people.
They're just, and I can just see it, like it gives you just great joy to take a portrait. It's really a living portrait of them. All right, and then of course is Francisco.
This one, yeah, is when they honor Francisco before he leaves, you know, winning a war.
I think it needs to be said that I was probably standing right next to you when you took that photo, right?
Oh yeah, in the press conference.
I
in the
was
press
there.
conference.
I'm just saying I was actually there.
I think I said, you know, let me try to get a closer shot, you know, like a quicker shot.
This picture I actually love because it's almost like from the point of view.
You could see the whole view of the Grand Concourse.
Grand Concourse.
And at the same time with the palm tree, and it makes you look like you're actually in Puerto Rico.
Ah, I didn't even think of that.
On the terrace, you know, outside.
Who are the two women? Do you know who they are?
Her name is Cookie. She's been with the Puerto Rican Parade, I think, like since day one. And she is one of the board members. And Gloria Rodriguez, she used to be also a queen. I don't remember exactly the year right now. And now she's also a board member.
What a great picture. So in other words, if people want to know, hey, what does the Puerto Rican Day Parade look like? There it is. Oh, here we go. Even animals are invited.
Yes. I mean, the horse, you could see, he was looking at my camera when I caught him. And
look at that. The horse is
look at
actually
her eyes.
looking at you.
It's like looking at me, and
wow.
Look at the legs. You know, it looks like he was making a nice dance routine
well,
there.
the other thing is that the horse is actually decked out in the colors.
Yeah.
The horse's legs. There's a whole group of people here. What do we
yes,
got?
this one was the ribbon cutting before the parade.
Oh, I see.
And you see a lot of people that we all know.
I saw Vanessa Gibson and Darcel Clark in there, and I see that's Michael Blake on the right-hand side. Oh, I see. She's got the scissor. Great.
Yeah,
great
she
color.
was the godmother of the parade.
And also the former Lehman president, Jose Luis Cruz, who's now...
He was the marshal.
Yeah, he's now at the CUNY offices.
Then you have Melissa over there in the corner.
Oh, I didn't see him. She was just...
she's the director of the pageant.
Okay.
And I mean, I love this picture because this is what it's all about, when everybody see each other and they haven't seen each other for a while, and they hug and they laugh and they smile and they just, oh my God, look who's here, you know. And this is what it's all about, laughter and hugging and
this is what you really enjoy.
And, it's a loving
wonderful?
picture. And he was one of the sponsors from Havana Cafe.
Ah,
yeah.
There you go. Good place to have lunch after. All right, any more left? I don't know how many we got left.
This one is Alexa Tirado. She is the chairperson. And this was different from the parade because we went to the Celia Cruz concert. And I was taking some pictures, and I just love this picture because everybody's having such a good time. Look at this smile. Like,
you certainly captured the joy, but you know, in terms of being a good photographer, you also got that woman right in the middle, perfectly located in the middle. Little applause now for Miriam Quin. What are the? I mean, obviously this event, you really care about this event. What kinds of events have you done that you, in addition to the Puerto Rican Day Parade?
I've done the Arlington International
Food
Festival.
Festival.
Yes,
right.
I've done that.
You know what? I should look at my own calendar and see all the places I've been because obviously.
Right. I've done that. I've done, a couple of different concerts because, I work for Max Production with Jacqueline Acevedo.
Right.
So I cover a lot of her events, like Mommy to Be.
Which is coming up, I believe,
now.
November 2nd.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about the future. Like, what kinds of things you hope to, do you ever work in the studio or say, maybe I'll do something a little different this time? Or
Those are my goals, to make my own studio where I could actually have people come
and
I could
what
take
kinds
pictures of them.
Portraits?
Yeah, anything, family. you know, because right now I do my granddaughter. So whenever my granddaughter comes by, you know, I haven't really been posting a lot of the pictures.
You know, I'd rather see those. I don't mean rather. I don't.
Well, I was going to put some of them there, but then I said, no, because this is from the parade pictures.
No.
know.
It's perfectly fine. And let's talk a little bit more about the parade. Why is it so important to you and to people of the Bronx?
It brings the community out. It brings all the Puerto Ricans out. But right now, it's like, you don't even have to be Puerto Rican to be in the parade. Well, everybody comes out,
we know that.
And you know, it's like so much fun to see everybody there enjoying themselves. And I saw a group of people over there, and they said, "We're not Puerto Rican, but we enjoy you guys," and they were bringing up the flags and everything. And
that is a Bronx. That is a Bronx thing. You have family in Puerto Rico?
Yes, I do.
And I'm always looking for firsthand reports on how they're doing. I mean, there's been 3 really large events. Number one, obviously, Maria. Number 2, the economy has not done well. In addition to that, and of course, the upheaval.
And thank God they were fine. The houses were fine. They just got a little flooding, and then they were fine. Because you know, Aisha Hernandez.
I don't know the name.
Aisha Hernandez, she used to work with Andy Quinn. Mm-hmm. She went over there, and when I told her, "Oh, you're very close to my aunt's house,"
right?
She actually went over there and took pictures and sent them to me, and then I sent it to my mother. Right. And told her, "Oh, they're fine. Look, you know, the house is fine. Everything was cool. Everything was good."
If people want to see your photographs, we were joking with our friends at the Norwood News. We we were joking with them. You take pictures for the Norwood News. You take pictures for who else, and how else can
the Bronx Times reporter?
And the Bronx Times reporter.
For Mass Production and
for
the
Mass
Puerto Rican Parade. You know, I mean, anybody that hires me, I'm there.
I'm sure. Miriam Quin, photography. Miriam, it's a pleasure to see you.
Thank you for having me again.
Your passion for our borough of the Bronx is undeniable. And, we really appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Everything that you do. Folks, that is it. I will tell you a little, and maybe you'll be interested to know, is that the Bronx Talk, my other TV show on BronxNet Television, will have its 25th anniversary this Friday.
I heard.
Well, the station is 25, but the TV show is also this Friday is actually the 25th anniversary of Bronx
I'm hoping
Talk.
to be there.
So anyway, folks, we'll see you next week. Have a good night. Keep buzzing along.